talk about my parents' divorce. I originally thought that like talking about my family and like talking about like disappointment would be like kind of killing two birds with one stone. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like standing here, it's kind of like there were two birds and like they got married and they had a family and then they like found a stone and then one of them was like, this is mine, and the other one was like, no, this is mine, and they got a divorce. Yeah. So I'm 17 years old and my mom walks into my bedroom. It's your average Pennsylvania summer. Yeah, you know. And my mom walks into my bedroom and she's like, hey Soraya, like, I bought you and your brother's tickets to Hershey Park for when your grandmother comes up to visit from Albuquerque. Hershey Park, for those of you who don't know, is like an amusement / chocolate theme park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And it's owned by the Hershey Company, which actually, like, before 2005, is called the Hershey Foods Corporation. And it was like started in 1894 by this guy named Milton S. Hershey. But back then it was called like the Hershey Chocolate Factory, which was like this subsidiary of like the like historic Anyway, what I didn't know was that my mother was sending me up to Hershey, Pennsylvania so that she and my father could like negotiate the terms of their divorce. I just thought that like me and my grandma, my like sweet Iranian grandma, were like getting this fun vacation together. So like one thing to know about Iranians is that like we always get really angry whenever we want to express that we love something or someone. And that, like, if you look at my family, that gets more exaggerated the more you go back generationally. So, like, I will be listening to a song I really like, and I'll be like, oh, God! Oh, yeah! Or, like, sometimes, like, if I'm really feeling my ancestors, they'll turn into, like, a question, like, oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! The people who know me in this room are like, that's never happened before, I realize. But it does happen with my mother. Sometimes, like, I'll call her and the conversation will be like, hi Mom, I'd die for you! Which is why I don't keep it on speakerphone around white people. It confuses them. But it's worse than my grandmother, who, like, got so excited when she was meeting my boyfriend that, like, he went out and, like, extended his hand and she went, So we're on the way to Hershey Park, the sweetest place on earth. And my mom has like rented this van service to take us up to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And the 80-year-old van driver is hitting on my grandmother. But it's very difficult for him because like the other thing about Iranians is that like we love to overshare, like as evidenced by the set. So he's having a really difficult time. Like he's like, so like, what's it like in Albuquerque? And she's like, then, you know, when my mother died of breast cancer, I was 5. Like, I feel like some of you may have this idea of like Hershey Park in your head, like, oh, chocolate this, chocolate that. No. It is a barren wasteland. I met this guy named Jackson, who like grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, this summer. And I was like, oh, tell me what it's like. And he was like, and I quote, to live in Hershey, Pennsylvania is to sit upon Satan's asshole. Its only saving grace is the Cocoplex, our chocolate-themed movie theater. first day, I ride the super duper looper 3 times. On the second day, I learned that my grandmother has recently become a vegan and really hopes that we become vegans too. So rather than letting me enjoy like the free continental breakfast I deserved, she makes us eat canned beans in the lobby of our Days Inn. Like meanwhile, I'm just hearing like, "Why aren't you drinking water? Why aren't you vegan? Beans are good for you." It is then, as I'm eating my canned beans, that I look up at our Days Inn television set and see that Cory Monteith has died. This is like true. This is real. On the 3rd day, we've exhausted, it's really fucking hot here. We've exhausted like all there is to do in Hershey Park. So we do the only other thing there is to do in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We go to the Coca-Plex. But like as you remember, like we were driven there by the flirty fan guy. So like we have like he's gone now. Like we've got nowhere to lay down. So we're like we'll walk there. It's fine. It's like 2 miles. It's not a problem. The other thing to know about Hershey is that, like, between the Days Inn and the Coca-Plex, like, there's nothing but corn. And actually, like, beyond the Days Inn and the Coca-Plex, there's, like, nothing but corn. So we're, like, a 1 mile in, cornfields ahead, cornfields behind, and, like, the Coca-Plex is nowhere in sight. My grandmother, it's sweltering hot, my grandmother breaks down, and she's like, "I cannot do this anymore." "What is it? What can't you do, Mama?" I call her Mama. "I cannot do this anymore." And she turns to her left and marches into the cornfield. This is a true fucking story. So my brothers and I follow her, and we find her lying down on the ground amidst the stalks of corn. She turns to us and she says, "Cover me." So my brothers and I pull out stalks of corn and we place them on top of her to make a fort. But the thing about corn is that it has no cooling properties. It's like the only thing it can do efficiently is like stop air from moving around. It's like an Iranian like rotisserie corn fort. When we finally get to the Coca-Plex, the only film that's showing is Despicable Me 2. If you guys remember, Despicable Me 2 is the film in which Pharrell's Happy premiered. So I'm like sitting in this movie theater, and somewhere out there, my parents' marriage is falling apart. And all I'm hearing is, "Because I'm happy, because I'm happy." Yet, despite all of this, the saving grace was the Coca-Plex.